The crash came at 11:47 p.m. on a rain-slicked highway, metal screaming against asphalt as Elena Carter's black Mercedes rolled 3 times before slamming into the guardrail. Glass everywhere, blood on her face, engine smoking, and through the ringing in her ears, a voice she'd heard 1,000 times but never really listened to. Her assistant's voice, broken and desperate, saying words that would change everything. "Please don't die. I can't lose you. I love you. I've always loved you." Elena Carter, the woman who controlled billion-dollar deals without flinching, who never let anyone close, who built walls so high no one dared climb them, heard those words and realized she'd been blind to the one person who actually saw her. If you want to know how the ice-cold CEO learned what it means to be human, stay with me until the end. And please, hit that like button and comment with your city so I can see how far this story travels. The thing about Elena Carter that most people didn't understand was that she wasn't born cold. She'd learned it, perfected it, weaponized it. At 30 years old, she sat at the head of a conference table on the 42nd floor of the Carter Technologies building in downtown Seattle, watching 12 men twice her age squirm in their seats. The quarterly report projected on the screen behind her showed numbers that would make most CEOs weep with joy. Revenue up 38%, market share expanding, stock price climbing. Elena looked at those numbers like they'd personally insulted her. 38%, she said, her voice cutting through the silence like a scalpel. "That's what you're celebrating? 38% when I specifically told you I expected 50. "Ms. Carter," Marcus Webb started, the CFO clearing his throat nervously. "The market conditions this quarter were exactly what I predicted they would be 6 months ago," Elena interrupted, "which means you had 6 months to prepare, 6 months to adjust strategy, 6 months to do your jobs." She stood, gathering her tablet and phone with practiced efficiency. "I want revised projections on my desk by Monday, and they'd better show me how you're going to make up that 12% gap, or I'll find people who can." She walked out before anyone could respond, her heels clicking against the marble floor with military precision. The glass doors of the conference room closed behind her, sealing in the uncomfortable silence she'd left behind. Her assistant was waiting outside, as always. Ryan Cole stood near her office door, tablet in hand, his posture somehow both professional and completely relaxed. He was 32, though Elena had never bothered to ask. Tall enough, brown hair that was never quite perfectly styled, dressed in the kind of business casual that said, competent but not trying too hard. Forgettable. That was the word Elena would have used if anyone had asked her to describe Ryan Cole. Utterly forgettable. "Your 2 o'clock canceled," Ryan said as she approached. "Rescheduled for Thursday, and your mother called the office line again." Elena didn't break stride. "Delete the voicemail." "Already done." Ryan fell into step beside her, matching her pace exactly. "You have the budget review at 3, dinner with the investors from Singapore at 7, cars scheduled for 6:30. "Cancel the dinner." "Already did. When you walked out of that meeting with that particular expression, I figured you'd want the evening clear." Elena stopped, turning to look at him directly for maybe the first time that day. Ryan met her gaze calmly, no fear, no apology, just steady. It was unsettling, actually. Most people couldn't hold her stare for more than 3 seconds before they started stammering or looking away. "You're presumptuous," she said. "I'm efficient," Ryan corrected. "There's a difference." "Is there?" "You pay me to anticipate your needs." I anticipated. He pulled up something on his tablet. "I also took the liberty of ordering in from that Thai place you like but pretend you don't. It'll be here in 20 minutes, which gives you time to decompress before the budget review." Elena studied him for a long moment. Ryan Cole had worked for her for 2 years. 2 years of perfect efficiency, zero drama, and absolutely no personality that she'd ever noticed. He showed up, did his job flawlessly, and left. She knew nothing about his life outside these walls, and she'd never asked. That was how she preferred it. "Fine," she said, and continued toward her office. The rest of the afternoon passed in its usual blur of numbers, projections, and decisions that would affect thousands of people who Elena would never meet. She was good at this. Being a CEO was like playing chess when you could see 20 moves ahead and your opponents could barely manage 3. It wasn't personal. It was never personal. Her phone buzzed at 5:47 p.m. Ryan's name on the screen. "Heading out unless you need anything else. Lily's daycare closes at 6. Elena frowned at the message. Lily. The name stirred something vague in her memory. Ryan had mentioned a daughter once, maybe during his interview 2 years ago? Elena deleted the message without responding. She worked until 8:30 p.m., until the cleaning crew started making their rounds and the city lights below her window blurred into a carpet of gold and white. Then she packed her bag, took the private elevator to the executive parking garage, and slid into her Mercedes. The drive home took 40 minutes in light traffic. Her penthouse was in Bellevue, all glass and steel and carefully curated emptiness. 1,700 square feet of hardwood floors, designer furniture that had never been sat on by guests she never invited, and a kitchen that had never cooked anything more complicated than coffee. Elena poured herself 2 fingers of scotch and stood at the floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking Lake Washington. The lights reflected on the dark water like fallen stars. Beautiful. Lonely. She drank and felt nothing. Her phone buzzed. She ignored it. Buzzed again. Ignored it again. On the 3rd buzz, she looked. Unknown number. She almost deleted it, but something made her open the message instead. This is Ryan. Using my personal phone. I know you're probably still working, but I need to take tomorrow off. Lily's sick. I'm sorry for the short notice. Elena read it twice, irritation flickering. She had back-to-back meetings tomorrow. An interview with Forbes, a site visit to the new facility in Redmond. She needed him there to manage the details, to anticipate the problems, to be the invisible support system that made her visible empire run smoothly. She typed back, fine, but I expect you available by phone if needed. The response came immediately. Of course. Thank you. Elena put the phone down and finished her scotch. Tomorrow would be harder without Ryan's efficiency, but she'd managed worse. She always did. What Elena didn't know, what she couldn't have known, was that tomorrow would never come. Not the tomorrow she planned, anyway. The crash happened at 11:47 p.m. Elena left the office at 11:15 p.m. after a late call with the Tokyo office. The highway was nearly empty, rain coming down in sheets that overwhelmed the wipers. She was tired, more than tired, exhausted in a way that went deeper than one late night could account for. The truck came out of nowhere. Later, the police would determine the driver had fallen asleep. His semi drifted across 2 lanes and clipped Elena's rear bumper at 70 miles per hour. She remembered the sickening spin, the way the world tilted and rotated, the sound of metal tearing like paper. She remembered thinking, with perfect clarity, that she was about to die. The Mercedes rolled. Once, twice, 3 times. Elena's head cracked against something hard despite the airbag. Glass exploded inward. The car slammed into the guardrail and finally stopped, upside down, engine smoking, dashboard lights flickering like a dying heartbeat. Elena couldn't move, couldn't breathe, couldn't think beyond the single, primal word, alive. Sirens. Distant at first, then closer. Voices. Hands reaching through the broken window. Someone saying her name. And then Ryan's voice. Broken. Desperate. Saying words that made no sense. Please don't die. Please, I can't. Lily needs me, but I can't lose you. I love you. I've always loved you. Elena tried to focus, tried to see him, but her vision was blurred with blood and rain and shock. The hands pulling her free were gentle despite their urgency. Paramedics. But Ryan's voice kept cutting through everything else. I'm sorry, he was saying. I'm so sorry. You're not supposed to know. You were never supposed to know. Then darkness swallowed everything. Elena woke up in a hospital room that smelled like disinfectant and old flowers. Her head felt like it had been split open and poorly reassembled. Her left arm was in a cast. Various parts of her body screamed with different intensities of pain. A nurse appeared within seconds of Elena's eyes opening. Miss Carter, don't try to move too quickly. You've been through significant trauma. What? Elena's voice came out as a croak. What happened? Car accident. 3 nights ago. You've been in and out of consciousness. Severe concussion, broken arm, 3 cracked ribs, multiple lacerations. You're very lucky to be alive. 3 nights. Elena tried to process that. 3 nights of her life, just gone. My company, she started, is being managed by your executive team. a familiar voice said from the doorway. Elena's head turned too fast, sparking fresh pain. Ryan stood there, looking like he hadn't slept in those 3 missing nights. His hair was a mess, his shirt was wrinkled, his eyes were red-rimmed and haunted. "You," Elena said. Ryan flinched like she'd hit him. "I should go. I just wanted to make sure you were okay." "Wait!" The word came out sharper than Elena intended. "What are you doing here?" I was following you." That night. Ryan stayed in the doorway, not coming closer. "I was worried. You'd been at the office for 14 hours straight, and you looked exhausted, and I had a bad feeling. So I followed your car. I saw the accident happen." The words from the crash came rushing back. "I love you. I've always loved you." Elena stared at him. "You said something at the crash." Ryan's face went carefully blank. "I said a lot of things. You were hurt and bleeding, and I was scared. You said you loved me." The silence stretched so long that the nurse quietly excused herself, closing the door behind her. Ryan didn't move, didn't speak. His jaw worked like he was trying to find words and failing. "Why?" Elena asked. The question came out smaller than she meant it to. "Because it's true." Ryan's voice was barely above a whisper. "I've been in love with you since the day I interviewed for this job. But you were my boss, and you were so far above me, and you never looked at me as anything but an assistant, so I kept it buried. I did my job. I stayed professional. I never meant for you to know." Elena's head was spinning, and she couldn't blame it entirely on the concussion. "That's completely inappropriate." "I know. You should have told me. I should have fired you." "I know." "Why didn't you quit?" Ryan finally met her eyes. "Because seeing you every day, even if you didn't see me, was better than not seeing you at all. I know how pathetic that sounds. I know it's unprofessional and probably violates a dozen HR policies. But you asked why, and that's why." Elena didn't know what to say. In 30 years of life, 26 years of school and business, and ruthless self-creation, no one had ever said anything like that to her. No one had ever looked at her the way Ryan was looking at her now, like she was somehow both the source of pain and the only possible cure. "I'll submit my resignation," Ryan said quietly. "Effective immediately. I'll make sure the transition is smooth. You'll barely notice I'm gone." "Don't!" Ryan blinked. "What?" "Don't resign!" Elena shifted in the hospital bed, wincing at the pain. "I need you." "Ms. Carter, for work," Elena clarified quickly. Too quickly. "You're the best assistant I've ever had. You make everything run smoothly. I can't afford to lose that right now." It was a lie. Partially. Elena could replace Ryan with another competent assistant within a week. But something in her chest tightened at the thought of him leaving, and she didn't understand it, didn't want to examine it too closely. Ryan looked like he was going to argue. Then he just nodded, exhausted. "Okay, if that's what you want." "It is. Then I'll be back at the office tomorrow." "You're not going anywhere near the office for at least 2 weeks, a new voice interrupted. Elena looked past Ryan to see Dr. Sarah Mitchell, the neurologist who'd been checking on her periodically. The doctor held a tablet and a very firm expression. "Ms. Carter, you suffered a severe concussion. You need rest, complete rest. No work, no screens, no stress." "That's impossible," Elena said flatly. "Then I'll make it mandatory. You're not cleared to return to work for a minimum of 2 weeks, possibly longer, depending on how your recovery progresses." Dr. Mitchell's tone left no room for negotiation. "You need to be somewhere quiet, with someone who can monitor you for any deterioration in your condition. You live alone, correct?" "Yes." "That's not acceptable. You need supervision." "I'll hire a nurse." "You need more than a nurse. You need someone who can make sure you actually rest instead of sneaking work." Dr. Mitchell looked at Ryan. "You're her assistant, correct?" Ryan nodded warily. "Can you keep an eye on her, make sure she follows medical orders?" "I have a daughter," Ryan said. "She's 6. I can't just—" "Bring Miss Carter to your home," Dr. Mitchell said, like it was the simplest thing in the world. "She needs constant supervision, and you're clearly someone who can manage her personality. Consider it part of your job description." Elena opened her mouth to protest. The idea was absurd, invasive, completely inappropriate. But Ryan spoke first. Okay. What? Elena stared at him. You need help. I can provide it. Ryan's expression was carefully neutral. My apartment isn't big, and it's definitely not what you're used to, but it's clean and quiet. Lily's in school most of the day. You can take my bedroom. I'll sleep on the couch. This is ridiculous, Elena said. This is necessary, Dr. Mitchell corrected. Unless you'd prefer to stay in the hospital for the full 2 weeks. Elena looked between the doctor and Ryan, feeling trapped in a way she hadn't felt since she was a child, being told what to do by adults who thought they knew better. Fine, she bit out. 2 weeks, then I'm going home and back to work. Dr. Mitchell smiled. We'll see how your recovery progresses. Mr. Cole, I'll have the discharge paperwork and care instructions ready by tomorrow morning. The doctor left. Ryan and Elena stared at each other across the hospital room, the weight of his confession and her reluctant agreement hanging between them like smoke. This doesn't change anything, Elena said. What you told me. We're going to forget it happened. Of course, Ryan said, but something in his eyes suggested that forgetting was the one thing neither of them would be able to do. The next morning, Elena was discharged into Ryan's care with a folder full of instructions, 3 prescription bottles, and a wheelchair she absolutely refused to use. Ryan drove a beat-up Honda Civic that was at least 10 years old. Elena folded herself into the passenger seat with difficulty, her ribs screaming in protest. Sorry about the mess, Ryan said, sweeping fast food wrappers and a coloring book off the floor. Lily likes to eat in the car. Elena said nothing. She was too busy trying not to think about how small the car was, how close Ryan was, how strange it felt to be in someone else's vehicle, going somewhere that wasn't a business meeting or her empty penthouse. Ryan's apartment was in Northgate, a 40-minute drive from Elena's Bellevue high-rise. The building was old but maintained, with a parking lot that had seen better days and a playground where a few kids were running around despite the morning chill. 3rd floor, Ryan said. There's an elevator, but it's slow. The elevator was indeed slow, and smelled faintly of old curry and cleaning products. Elena leaned against the wall, exhausted from the short walk from the car. Her head throbbed. Her ribs ached. She felt weak and hated it. Ryan unlocked apartment 3C and held the door open. Elena stepped inside and stopped. It was small. Maybe 800 square feet total. A living room that flowed directly into a kitchen. A hallway that probably led to a bedroom and bathroom. The furniture was old but clean. Toys were scattered across the carpet, building blocks, dolls, a plastic tea set. Children's drawings covered the refrigerator. A bookshelf overflowed with picture books and novels in equal measure. It was lived in, messy, real. Everything Elena's penthouse wasn't. I know it's not much, Ryan said quietly. Where's your daughter? Elena asked. At school. I'll pick her up at 3. Ryan set Elena's bag down. Let me show you the bedroom. Fair warning, it's pretty plain. Plain was an understatement. The bedroom held a queen bed with a simple blue comforter, a dresser, and a bedside table with a lamp and a photo frame. Elena looked at the photo. Ryan and a little girl with wild brown curls and a gap-toothed smile, both of them laughing at something off camera. That's Lily, Ryan said. She's going to be curious about you. I told her you got hurt and needed a place to stay while you got better. She's a good kid, but she asks a lot of questions. Elena sat on the edge of the bed, suddenly overwhelmed. I can't stay here. This is your home, your private space. It's temporary. 2 weeks. Remember? Ryan opened the dresser drawers. I cleared these out for you. Bathrooms across the hall. I stocked it with the toiletries you like. I grabbed them from your office. And before you ask, yes, I know it's weird that I know what brand of shampoo you prefer. Hazards of being a good assistant. Elena didn't know what to say. She looked around the small, plain room and felt something crack in her chest. For 2 years, Ryan Cole had been invisible to her, a tool, a convenience. And now she was in his home, sleeping in his bed, about to meet his daughter, and he was taking care of her like it was the most natural thing in the world. Why are you doing this? She asked. Ryan paused at the doorway. Because you need help, and I can give it. That's all. But it wasn't all. They both knew it. Get some rest, Ryan said. I'll wake you for lunch. Doctor's orders are every 4 hours for meals and medication. He closed the door gently behind him. Elena lay back on the bed. Ryan's bed, and stared at the ceiling. She could hear him moving around in the living room, could smell coffee brewing in the kitchen, could hear the faint sound of traffic outside, and children playing in the parking lot below. This was a mistake. A terrible, uncomfortable, inappropriate mistake. So why did some part of her feel safer than she had in years? Elena slept. She woke to the sound of a child's laughter and the smell of something cooking. For a disoriented moment, she didn't know where she was. Then memory crashed back. The accident, the hospital, Ryan's confession, the absurd arrangement that had brought her here. She checked her phone. 3:47 p.m. She'd slept for nearly 6 hours. Voices floated down the hallway. A little girl's voice, high and excited. Ryan's voice, patient and warm, in a way Elena had never heard at the office. Elena stood carefully, her body protesting every movement. She caught sight of herself in the small mirror above the dresser and winced. She looked terrible, pale, bruised, with a bandage across her temple and her hair a tangled mess. She forced herself out into the hallway. The scene in the living room stopped her cold. Ryan sat on the couch with the little girl from the photo, Lily, curled against his side. She was reading aloud from a picture book, sounding out words with fierce concentration. Ryan listened like she was reciting Shakespeare, his hand gently smoothing her wild curls. And the dragon said, "I'm not scary, I'm just under..." Lily struggled with the word. "Misunderstood," Ryan supplied gently. "Misunderstood," Lily repeated triumphantly. "I'm just misunderstood." They both looked up as Elena appeared. Lily's eyes went wide. "Is that her?" the little girl whispered. "The lady who got hurt?" "That's her," Ryan confirmed. "Elena, this is my daughter, Lily. Lily, this is Ms. Carter." Lily scrambled off the couch and approached Elena with the fearlessness of a 6-year-old. "You look like a warrior princess. You have battle scars and everything." Elena blinked. No one had ever called her a warrior princess before. Ice Queen, yes. Dragon Lady, certainly. But warrior princess was new. "I suppose I do," Elena said carefully. "Does it hurt?" Lily asked, pointing at the bandage. "Sometimes. Daddy says you have to stay with us for 2 whole weeks because you need to rest your brain. Is your brain tired?" "Very tired. Mine gets tired too after school. That's why Daddy lets me watch cartoons." Lily tilted her head, studying Elena with unsettling intensity. "You're really pretty, even with the hurt parts." Elena didn't know what to say to that. She looked at Ryan, who was watching the interaction with a strange expression, something between fear and hope. "Thank you," Elena managed. "Do you like mac and cheese?" Lily asked. "Daddy's making it for dinner. It's my favorite." "I've never had it." Lily's jaw dropped. "Never, never, ever? Never, ever." "Daddy!" Lily spun around. "Miss Carter has never had mac and cheese. That's so sad." Ryan stood, moving toward the kitchen. "Then it's a good thing I made extra. Elena, you should sit down before you fall down. You look like you're about to collapse." He was right. Elena's legs were shaking. She made it to the couch and sank down gratefully. Lily immediately climbed up beside her, apparently having decided that Elena was now her new best friend. "I'm in 1st grade," Lily announced. "I can read and write, and I know all my numbers to 100. Daddy teaches me stuff every night. He's really smart." "Are you smart?" "I'd like to think so," Elena said. "Daddy says you're his boss and you run a huge company and everyone's scared of you, but you don't seem scary. You seem tired." Out of the mouths of children, Elena felt something in her chest twist. "I am tired," she admitted. Lily patted Elena's hand with the solemnity of a much older person. "It's okay. Daddy says when you're tired, the best thing is to rest and let people take care of you. He's really good at taking care of people. He takes care of me all the time." Elena looked at this small girl with her wild hair and her father's eyes, chattering away without fear or judgment, and felt the walls she'd spent years building start to shake. Ryan appeared with 2 plates of mac and cheese, the real kind, not from a box. Elena took hers and stared at it like it might bite her. "Try it," Lily urged. "It's really good." Elena took a bite. It was good. Better than good. Warm and rich and comforting in a way she didn't have words for. "See?" Lily beamed. "Food tastes better when someone makes it with love. That's what Daddy always says." Elena's eyes met Ryan's across the small living room. He looked away first, his expression unreadable. They ate dinner on the couch, watching a cartoon that Lily narrated enthusiastically. Elena took her medication. Ryan cleaned up while Lily showed Elena her collection of stuffed animals and explained their elaborate personalities and relationships. At 8:30, Ryan announced bedtime. Lily groaned but obeyed, hugging Elena goodnight with surprising fierceness. "I'm glad you're here," Lily whispered. "Daddy seems less sad when you're around." Then she was gone, leaving Elena and Ryan alone in the small living room. "I'm sorry about her," Ryan said, settling into the armchair across from the couch. "She's enthusiastic." "She's wonderful," Elena said, and meant it. Ryan looked surprised. "Yeah, she is." Silence settled between them. Not comfortable, but not entirely uncomfortable either. "I should explain," Ryan finally said. "About Lily. Her mother left when she was 2, just walked out one day and never came back. No note, no custody battle, no contact. It's been just me and Lily for 4 years." Elena absorbed this. "That must have been hard." "It was. But we managed. We're a team." Ryan's expression softened. "She's the best thing that ever happened to me. Even when things are difficult, even when I'm exhausted and worried and have no idea what I'm doing, she makes it worth it." "You're a good father," Elena said. "I try." Ryan met her eyes. "Look, I know this situation is weird. I know you probably want to be anywhere but here. But I'm going to do everything I can to make this as comfortable as possible. 2 weeks. Then you can go back to your life, and we can pretend this never happened." "Can we?" Elena asked quietly. Ryan didn't answer. Elena went to bed at 9, exhausted despite having slept most of the day. She lay in Ryan's bed, surrounded by his things, and tried to make sense of everything that had happened in the last 4 days. The accident, the confession, this strange new world of mac and cheese and picture books, and a little girl who thought Elena was a warrior princess. For the first time in years, Elena fell asleep and didn't dream of spreadsheets and board meetings. She dreamed of a voice in the darkness, saying "I love you," like it was both a confession and a prayer. The first week passed in a blur of medication schedules, enforced rest, and the strange rhythm of someone else's life. Elena woke each morning to the sound of Ryan getting Lily ready for school, the gentle coaxing to brush teeth, the negotiation over which shirt to wear, the rushed breakfast at the small kitchen table. She'd lie in bed listening to their routine, feeling like an intruder in their world. By day 3, she stopped feeling like an intruder and started feeling like something else, something she didn't have a name for. "You're staring again," Ryan said on the 4th morning. Elena blinked. She was sitting at the kitchen table, coffee mug in hand, watching Ryan pack Lily's lunch. He moved with practiced efficiency: sandwich, apple slices, juice box, a note on a napkin with a smiley face. "I'm not staring," Elena said. "I'm observing." "That's a fancy word for staring." Ryan closed the lunchbox and turned to face her. "How's your head today?" "Still attached." "That's not what I asked." Elena sighed. The headaches had lessened, but they hadn't disappeared. "It's fine, better than yesterday." "You're lying." "How would you know?" "Because you get this little crease right here." Ryan gestured to the space between his eyebrows. "When you're in pain but don't want to admit it. You do it in meetings when someone says something particularly stupid." Elena touched the spot reflexively. "You notice things like that?" "I notice everything about you," Ryan said simply. Then he seemed to realize what he'd said and turned back to the counter quickly. "Medication. You need to take it with food." "I'm not hungry." "Elena." He used her first name now, at home. At the office, it had always been Ms. Carter. The switch felt intimate in a way that made her uncomfortable. "You weigh maybe 120 pounds, soaking wet. You've barely eaten in 4 days, and you need to keep your strength up. So you're going to eat something, or I'm going to call Dr. Mitchell and tell her you're not following orders." "You wouldn't." Ryan pulled out his phone. "Fine," Elena said. "Blackmail. Very professional. I learned from the best." Ryan set a plate of scrambled eggs in front of her. "Eat." Elena ate. The eggs were good. Everything Ryan cooked was good, which annoyed her for reasons she couldn't articulate. Lily burst into the kitchen like a small tornado, backpack half-zipped, and shoes on the wrong feet. "Daddy, I can't find my spelling homework." "Because you left it in the bathroom," Ryan said without looking up. "Oh yeah," Lily ran off. "How do you know where everything is?" Elena asked. Practice. Lily's organizationally challenged. Wonder where she gets that from. Ryan glanced at his watch. We need to leave in 5 minutes or she'll be late. I'll be fine here alone. I know you will, but just in case, Ryan slid a piece of paper across the table. Here's my number, the school's number, Dr. Mitchell's number, and the number for the building supervisor. Don't work. Don't check email. Don't even think about calling the office. You're very bossy when you're not at work. Someone has to be. You're terrible at taking care of yourself. Elena wanted to argue, but couldn't. He was right. Lily reappeared, homework in hand and shoes now on the correct feet. She stopped next to Elena's chair and studied her carefully. Your bruises are turning yellow, Lily announced. That means they're getting better. I learned that when I fell off the monkey bars last year. Good to know, Elena said. Do you get lonely when we're gone? The question caught Elena off guard. I don't know. You can watch TV if you get lonely, or read my books. I have lots of books. Lily reached out and patted Elena's hand. Don't be sad, okay? We'll be back soon. Then she was gone, Ryan herding her toward the door with practiced ease. Lock this behind us, Ryan called back. And rest. I mean it. The door closed. The lock clicked. Elena sat alone in the small apartment and realized she didn't know what to do with herself. For 2 years, every minute of her day had been scheduled, optimized, productive. Now she had nothing but time and orders not to work. She wandered the apartment like a ghost, picking up objects and putting them down. Lily's toys, Ryan's books, a photo album on the bottom shelf that she opened and immediately closed, feeling like she'd trespassed somewhere sacred. She ended up on the couch with her laptop, just to check email, just for 5 minutes, 347 unread messages. The number made her anxious and relieved in equal measure. The company was running without her. The world hadn't stopped because Elena Carter was temporarily sidelined. She started reading, got through 12 emails before her head started pounding, pushed through another 20 before the pounding became unbearable. Her phone rang, Ryan's name on the screen. What? She answered. You're working, aren't you? Elena looked around the empty apartment. How could you possibly know that? Because I can hear it in your voice. You get this particular tone when you're focused on work, sharp and impatient. Close the laptop, Elena. Close it. Elena closed the laptop with more force than necessary. Happy? Delirious. Now go lie down before you give yourself another concussion from sheer stubbornness. I don't like you very much right now, Elena muttered. You don't like anyone very much most of the time. I'll take it as a compliment. Ryan's voice softened. Please rest. I'll be home at 3:30 with Lily. We can all have an early dinner. He hung up before Elena could respond. Elena lay down on the couch and stared at the ceiling. The apartment was quiet, except for the sounds of the building around her, footsteps from upstairs, a dog barking somewhere, traffic from the street below. Normal sounds. Living sounds. She fell asleep without meaning to. When she woke, it was to the sound of the door opening and Lily's voice chattering excitedly about something that had happened at recess. Elena sat up groggily, disoriented. Sorry, Ryan said, appearing with grocery bags. Did we wake you? It's fine. What time is it? Almost 4. You slept for nearly 5 hours. Elena rubbed her face. 5 hours. When was the last time she'd slept 5 hours in the middle of the day? Never, probably. Miss Carter. Lily dropped her backpack and ran over. Guess what? I got a gold star on my math test. Look. She shoved a paper in Elena's face. Elena took it carefully, studying the addition problems and the large gold star at the top. This is excellent work, Elena said. Daddy says I'm good at numbers. Are you good at numbers? Very good. Maybe you can help me with my homework sometime. Daddy's good at it, but sometimes he gets confused by the new way they teach stuff. I do not get confused, Ryan called from the kitchen. The way they teach subtraction now is just objectively insane. Lily rolled her eyes with the dramatic flair of a 6-year-old. He says that every time. Elena found herself smiling, actually smiling, not the professional smile she used in meetings, but something real and unguarded. Lily settled onto the couch next to her, pulling out a coloring book. Want to color with me? I don't think I know how. Everyone knows how to color. You just pick a crayon and stay inside the lines. Well, mostly inside the lines. Sometimes outside is more fun. Elena accepted the purple crayon Lily handed her and began carefully coloring a dragon's wing. Lily watched for a moment, then shook her head. You're doing it too perfect. Color is supposed to be messy, like this. She scribbled enthusiastically across a castle turret, purple bleeding into the gray stone. That's not how... Elena started. There's no rules in coloring, Lily interrupted. Daddy taught me that. He says rules are good for some things, like crossing the street and bedtime. But art should be free. Elena looked at the perfectly colored wing she'd made and felt something uncomfortable twist in her chest. When had she forgotten how to be messy? How to be free? She took the purple crayon and deliberately colored outside the lines. Lily beamed. See? You're getting it. They colored until Ryan called them for dinner. Spaghetti. Simple and perfect. They ate at the small table, Lily talking non-stop about her day while Ryan listened and asked questions that showed he actually cared about the answers. Elena watched them and felt like an anthropologist studying an alien species. This was family. This was what it looked like when people actually cared about each other, when home was more than just a place to sleep between workdays. Elena, Ryan's voice pulled her back. You okay? Yes, sorry, just thinking. About work? No. About this? Elena gestured vaguely at the table, the apartment, them. About how different this is from my life. Different bad or different good? Lily asked. Elena considered. Different, strange. Strange can be good, Lily said wisely, like when we went to the zoo and saw that bird with the weird beak. It was strange, but it was also really cool. After dinner, Lily insisted on showing Elena her room. It was tiny, barely big enough for a twin bed and a small dresser, but every inch was covered with drawings, stickers, glow-in-the-dark stars on the ceiling. This is my special place, Lily said. Daddy says everyone needs a special place where they feel safe. Do you have a special place? Elena thought about her penthouse, with its designer furniture and carefully curated emptiness. No, I don't think I do. That's sad. Lily crawled onto her bed and patted the space next to her. You can share mine if you want. Want to see my favorite book? Elena sat carefully on the edge of the small bed. Lily pulled out a worn picture book about a dragon who was afraid of fire. Daddy reads this to me every night, Lily said. It's about being brave even when you're scared. The dragon thinks she's broken because she can't breathe fire like other dragons, but then she finds out she can do other special things instead. Do you ever feel broken? The question was so direct, so innocent, that Elena didn't know how to deflect it. Sometimes, she admitted. Me too. Especially when kids at school ask about my mom, and I have to say I don't have one. But Daddy says not having a mom doesn't make me broken. It just makes my family different. Elena's throat felt tight. Your dad is right. He's right about lots of things, except subtraction. Lily giggled at her own joke, then grew serious again. I think you're not broken either. I think you're just a dragon who hasn't figured out her special thing yet. From the doorway, Ryan's voice was soft. Lily, it's almost bedtime. Let Elena rest. Okay? Lily hugged Elena suddenly, fiercely. Good night, Miss Carter. Good night, Lily, and you can call me Elena. Lily's eyes went wide. Really? Really? Okay, good night, Elena. The name came out with such joy that Elena felt something crack wider in her chest. Ryan stayed to help Lily with her bedtime routine. Elena retreated to the living room, exhausted despite having done nothing all day. She could hear Ryan reading the dragon book in a gentle voice, could hear Lily's occasional questions and comments. This was his life. This warmth, this routine, this love that filled every corner of the small apartment. And he did it alone, every single day, while also being her perfect, efficient, invisible assistant at work. Elena had never seen him. Not really. Not until now. Ryan emerged 20 minutes later, closing Lily's door quietly. He found Elena on the couch, staring at nothing. You look tired, he said. I am, but not the bad kind of tired. Ryan settled into the armchair. There's a good kind? I don't know, maybe. Elena pulled her knees up, carefully, because her ribs still ached. Can I ask you something? Sure. Why do you do it? Work for me, I mean. You're smart, capable. You could work anywhere. Why stay with someone who never saw you as more than a tool? Ryan was quiet for a long moment. Because even when you didn't see me, I saw you. And what I saw was someone brilliant and driven and desperately lonely. Someone who built walls so high she forgot what it felt like to let people in. That's not an answer. Yes, it is. You just don't like it. Ryan leaned forward, elbows on his knees. I stayed because I hoped that someday you might look at me and actually see me. Not as your assistant, as a person. As someone who could... He stopped himself. Someone who could what? Someone who could stand beside you instead of behind you. Ryan's voice was rough. But I knew it was impossible. You were my boss. You were Elena Carter, CEO, and I was just the guy who scheduled your meetings and ordered your lunch. So I took what I could get, which was being near you even if you never really noticed. Elena's chest hurt. Not from the accident, from something deeper. I noticed. No, you didn't. I did. I just didn't let myself think about it. Elena met his eyes. You were the only person in my life who never wanted anything from me, except to do your job well. You never tried to manipulate me or use me or get close to me for what I could give you. You were just there, steady, reliable, safe. Safe, Ryan repeated. That's a terrible thing to be. No, it's the best thing to be. Elena's voice cracked. Do you know how rare that is? To have someone in your life who just shows up, day after day, no agenda, no expectations. You were the only constant I had, and I was too blind to appreciate it. Ryan stood abruptly. You should get some sleep. Doctor's orders. Ryan, please. He wouldn't look at her. This is already hard enough. Don't make it harder. He disappeared into the kitchen. Elena heard water running, dishes clattering. She wanted to follow him, to say something that would fix the tension crackling between them, but she didn't know what, didn't know how. So she went to bed in Ryan's room and lay awake for hours, listening to him move around the apartment before finally settling on the couch. The next morning, things were different. Ryan was polite but distant. He made breakfast, ensured Elena took her medication, and left for work after dropping Lily at school. He'd arranged for a neighbor, Mrs. Chen from 3F, to check on Elena every few hours. Mrs. Chen was 70, sharp-eyed, and immediately saw through Elena's protests that she was fine. You look like a strong wind could knock you over, Mrs. Chen said, settling into the armchair with her knitting. Ryan worries about you. He's a good man, that one. Raised that little girl all by himself, never complained, always has time to help his neighbors. You know him well? Known him since he moved in 4 years ago. Watched Lily grow from a tiny thing to the chatterbox she is now. Mrs. Chen's needles clicked rhythmically. He never talks about himself, though. Always asking about others, helping where he can. I didn't even know he had a job until I saw him in a suit one day. Asked him what he did, and he just said he worked in an office. Didn't mention he worked for some fancy CEO. He told you that? Lily told me, last week when she was excited about you coming to stay. She said her daddy works for a really important lady who got hurt. Mrs. Chen looked up. That's you, I take it. That's me. He's in love with you, you know. Elena's breath caught. He told you that? Didn't have to. I've got eyes. The way he talks about you, even when he's trying not to talk about you, it's obvious. The way he rushed out when he got the call about your accident. The way he's been running himself ragged trying to take care of you and Lily and still do his job. Mrs. Chen's gaze was knowing. Question is, what are you going to do about it? There's nothing to do. He's my employee. It would be inappropriate. Life's too short for appropriate. Mrs. Chen went back to her knitting. I was married to my husband for 47 years. You know why? Because when I met him, I didn't care that he was my boss at the factory, or that people talked, or that it wasn't proper. I cared that he made me laugh, and he looked at me like I was the only person in the world who mattered. That's rare. When you find it, you hold on to it. Elena didn't know what to say to that. Mrs. Chen stayed until noon, then left with instructions to rest and eat the soup she'd brought. Elena heated the soup, homemade, delicious, and sat at the small kitchen table thinking about everything and nothing. Her phone buzzed. A text from Marcus Webb, her CFO. Board meeting next week. They're asking about your return timeline. What should I tell them? Elena stared at the message. The board. The company. Her real life, waiting for her to come back and reclaim it. She typed back, "Tell them 2 weeks as planned. I'll be back." But even as she sent it, something in her chest twisted with an emotion she couldn't name. Ryan came home at 3:30 with Lily, both of them windblown and laughing about something. Lily ran straight to Elena with a drawing she'd made in art class, a picture of 3 stick figures labeled Daddy, Lily, and Elena. "That's us," Lily said proudly. "Ms. Davis said to draw our family, so I drew us. Is that okay?" Elena looked at the drawing, at the 3 figures holding hands under a smiling sun, and felt tears prick her eyes. "It's more than okay," she managed. "It's perfect." That night, after Lily was asleep, Elena found Ryan in the kitchen washing dishes. She picked up a towel and started drying without asking. They worked in silence for a few minutes before Elena spoke. "I'm sorry about last night. I didn't mean to make things awkward." "You didn't. I did." Ryan handed her a plate. "I shouldn't have said what I said. It wasn't fair to put that on you." "It was honest. I appreciate honest." "Do you?" Ryan turned to look at her. "Because in my experience, you prefer efficient. Honest is messy." "Maybe I'm learning to like messy." Ryan's expression softened. "Maybe you are." They finished the dishes together. Ryan made tea, the kind Elena liked but never admitted to liking at the office. They sat on opposite ends of the couch, not touching, but somehow closer than they'd been. "Tell me about Lily's mother," Elena said. Ryan's jaw tightened. "Why?" "Because I want to understand. I want to know what happened." Ryan was quiet for so long that Elena thought he wouldn't answer. Then he started talking. "Her name was Jennifer. We met in college, got married too young, had Lily even younger. I thought we were happy. Turns out I was the only one who thought that." He stared into his tea. "She got bored. That's what she said when she left. She was bored of being a mother, bored of being a wife, bored of the life we'd built. She wanted adventure, freedom, all the things she felt she'd missed out on. So she left. No custody fight, no child support, no contact. Just gone." "That's horrible." It was. But it was also a relief in a weird way. Because I stopped trying to make someone happy who didn't want to be happy. I focused on Lily, on building a life that was stable and good. And we made it work. Ryan looked at Elena. "She's never asked about Jennifer, not really. Sometimes she notices other kids have moms, but she doesn't seem to miss what she never had. She has you. That's more than enough." "I hope so. I try to be enough." "You are," Elena said firmly. "You're an incredible father, Ryan. Watching you with her, it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." Ryan's eyes widened slightly. "You think that?" "I know that." The silence between them shifted, became charged with something Elena didn't want to name. "I should go to bed," she said, standing abruptly. "Elena." "Good night, Ryan." She fled to the bedroom before he could say anything else. The second week brought changes. Elena's headaches lessened to occasional twinges. Her ribs stopped screaming with every movement. She started helping around the apartment, folding laundry, chopping vegetables for dinner, reading to Lily at bedtime when Ryan was running late from work. It felt natural, too natural. One evening, Elena was setting the table when Lily asked, "When you're all better, are you going to leave?" Elena's hand stilled. "I'll go back to my home, yes. But will you come visit us?" Elena looked at Ryan, who was very focused on stirring pasta sauce. "I don't know, sweetheart." Lily's face fell. "Oh, that's what adults say when they mean no." "Lily," Ryan said gently, "Elena has her own life, a very important, busy life. She won't have time to visit." "But I want her to visit." Lily's eyes filled with tears. "I like having her here. It feels like we're a real family." Ryan knelt beside his daughter. "We are a real family, you and me. We've always been a real family." "I know, but..." Lily wiped her eyes. "It's nicer with 3. It feels less lonely." Elena's heart shattered. She crossed to Lily and knelt too, ignoring the protest from her ribs. "I like being here with you too," Elena said. "Both of you. More than I can explain. And I promise, that I won't disappear. I'll visit. We'll find time." "Really?" Lily's face brightened. "Really?" Ryan was watching Elena with an expression she couldn't read. Later, after Lily was asleep, he confronted her. "You shouldn't have promised that." Why not? Because you can't keep it. Your life and our life, they don't fit together. You're a CEO. You work 80-hour weeks. You live in a different world. Promising Lily that you'll stay in her life is just going to hurt her more when you inevitably can't. Elena felt anger flash through her. You don't know what I can or can't do. Yes, I do. I've worked for you for 2 years. I know exactly how your life works. There's no room in it for a 6-year-old girl and her single father. Maybe I'll make room. Will you? Ryan's voice was hard. Or is this just temporary guilt because you've been forced to step outside your perfect, controlled world for 2 weeks? Because the second you go back to that penthouse, back to that office, this will all feel like a weird dream, and Lily will be left wondering why the lady she drew pictures of never calls, never visits, never shows up. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, but I won't let you break my daughter's heart because you're having some kind of quarter-life crisis. Elena stepped closer, fury and hurt warring in her chest. You think that's all this is? You think I'm playing house because I'm bored? I don't know what to think. A month ago, you looked through me like I was furniture. Now you're making promises to my daughter about staying in her life. Which Elena am I supposed to believe? The one who never saw me or the one standing here now? Maybe they're both real, Elena said quietly. Maybe I was that person, and maybe I'm becoming someone different. Maybe almost dying changes things. Ryan's expression cracked. Don't do this. Don't make me hope when hope is the most dangerous thing I can feel around you. Why is it dangerous? Because I've been in love with you for 2 years, and I've spent every day of those 2 years knowing it was impossible. And now you're standing in my kitchen, making promises to my daughter, looking at me like... He stopped, shaking his head. Like maybe it's not impossible, and that hope is going to destroy me when you leave. Elena reached up and touched his face. Ryan froze. What if I don't want it to be impossible? She whispered. Elena, what if I'm tired of being alone? What if I want this? Want you, want Lily, want something real instead of the empty life I've built? Ryan caught her hand, held it against his cheek. You don't know what you're saying. You're still recovering. You're not thinking clearly. I'm thinking more clearly than I have in years. Elena moved closer. Every morning I wake up here and I feel more alive than I've felt in a decade. Every dinner with you and Lily feels more important than every board meeting I've ever run. You make me feel like a person instead of a machine, and I don't want to lose that. You're going to break my heart, Ryan said, but he didn't let go of her hand. Then let me put it back together afterward. Ryan made a sound that was half laugh, half sob. That's not how it works. Then teach me how it works. They stood there in the small kitchen, barely breathing, the space between them charged with 2 years of unspoken feelings and 2 weeks of forced proximity that had broken down every wall Elena had ever built. This is a bad idea, Ryan said. Probably. You're my boss. I know. People will talk. Let them. Ryan's eyes searched hers. What happens when you remember who you are? When you go back to that world and realize this was just a temporary escape? Then I'll prove to you it wasn't. Elena's voice was steady, despite the fear coursing through her. Give me a chance, Ryan. Let me try. He kissed her. It was soft, tentative, like he was afraid she might disappear if he held on too tight. Elena's hands found his shirt, holding him there, kissing him back with everything she'd kept locked away for so long. When they broke apart, both breathless, Ryan pressed his forehead to hers. If you hurt Lily, I'll never forgive you, he said. I won't. If you hurt me, I'll survive. But if you hurt her, I won't, Elena repeated. I swear. Ryan kissed her again, deeper this time, and Elena felt the last of her walls crumble to dust. The kiss ended, but neither of them moved apart. Elena kept her hands on Ryan's shirt, afraid that if she let go, the moment would shatter and reality would come crashing back. We should talk about this, Ryan said, his voice rough. I don't want to talk. Elena, every time I try to think, I talk myself out of things. I analyze, I strategize, I find all the reasons why something won't work. Elena looked up at him. For once, I just want to feel something without destroying it with logic. Ryan's thumb traced her cheekbone. And what do you feel? Terrified. Hopeful. Alive. She pressed closer. Like I've been sleepwalking for years and I'm finally awake. That's the concussion talking. Don't do that. Don't minimize this because you're scared. Ryan's jaw tightened. Of course I'm scared. You're Elena Carter. You could have anyone. Why would you want... Elena kissed him again, harder this time, cutting off the self-doubt before it could take root. When she pulled back, Ryan looked dazed. I don't want anyone, Elena said. I want you. The man who knows how I take my coffee, who calls me out when I'm being unreasonable, who's been standing beside me for 2 years waiting for me to notice. I want you, Ryan Cole. Is that clear enough? Crystal clear, Ryan managed. Then his expression shifted, became more serious. But we need ground rules. Lily can't know about this yet. Not until we're sure it's real, that it's going to last. I won't have her getting attached to the idea of us if I break your heart and disappear. Something like that. Elena stepped back, giving him space. You're right. We go slow. Figure this out without involving Lily until we're certain. Slow, Ryan repeated like he was trying to convince himself. We can do slow. They stood in the kitchen, the space between them crackling with tension, both of them knowing that slow was going to be nearly impossible when they were living under the same roof. I should go to bed, Elena said. Yeah, me too. Neither of them moved. Elena? Yes? Tomorrow morning, when Lily's at school and you've had time to think, if you change your mind about this, about us, I'll understand. No hard feelings. We can pretend this never happened. Elena crossed back to him and took his face in her hands. I won't change my mind, but if it makes you feel better to give me an out, then fine. Ask me again tomorrow. She kissed him one more time, soft and brief, then forced herself to walk away before she did something reckless like drag him to the bedroom they were supposed to be keeping separate. Elena lay awake for hours that night, her mind racing despite the medication that was supposed to make her drowsy. She could hear Ryan moving around in the living room, could picture him on the too small couch, probably not sleeping either. What were they doing? This was insane, inappropriate, a disaster waiting to happen. But when Elena closed her eyes, all she could see was Ryan's face when he'd said he loved her. The vulnerability, the hope, the fear. And she realized that for the first time in years, someone had looked at her and seen past the armor to the person underneath. That person was worth fighting for, even if the fight scared her. Morning came too early. Elena heard Ryan getting Lily ready, the usual morning chaos of a 6-year-old who didn't want to wear the outfit she'd picked out the night before and couldn't find her favorite hair clip. Daddy, is Elena awake? Can she do my hair instead? Elena needs rest, Bug. Let me do it. But you're bad at braids. They always come out lumpy. Elena smiled despite herself and dragged out of bed. Her head still ached, but less than yesterday. Progress. She appeared in the kitchen doorway. Lily's face lit up. See? She's awake. Elena, can you braid my hair? Daddy makes it look like a snake tried to tie knots. Ryan shot Elena an apologetic look. You don't have to. I want to, Elena said. She settled onto the couch with Lily between her knees, carefully sectioning the wild curls into something manageable. Her fingers were clumsy at first. She'd never braided hair before. But Lily talked her through it with patient instructions. You have to pull tighter and keep the sections even. Yeah, like that. Ryan watched from the kitchen, his expression unreadable. When Elena finished and Lily ran to check herself in the mirror, Ryan crossed to her. You didn't change your mind, he said quietly. I told you I wouldn't. I know, but I had to check. He glanced toward Lily's room, then back at Elena. Tonight, after she's asleep, we talk, really talk, about what this means, how we make it work. Okay. Ryan's hand brushed hers, brief and electric. Then Lily was back, backpack in hand, and the moment dissolved into the rush of getting out the door. After they left, Elena found herself alone with her thoughts and explicit orders not to work. She tried reading, got bored after 2 pages. Tried watching TV, nothing held her attention. Tried sleeping, her mind wouldn't shut off. Finally, she gave in and opened her laptop. Just to check a few emails, just to see what she'd missed. 362 unread messages now. Meetings she'd missed, decisions that had been made without her. The company continuing to function like she was already gone. It should have bothered her. A month ago, it would have sent her into a panic. But now, looking at all those emails, all Elena felt was tired. Tired of being the only person holding everything together. Tired of believing the company would collapse without her constant vigilance. She closed the laptop without reading a single message. Her phone rang. Marcus Webb. "Don't tell me you're working," he said without preamble. "I opened my laptop. Does that count?" "Yes. Close it immediately." "Already done." Elena shifted on the couch, wincing. "How bad is it there?" "Honestly, fine. Everything's fine. Jennifer's handling the Matsuda negotiations. David's managing the development team. I'm keeping the board in line. The building hasn't burned down. We're managing. That's supposed to be comforting?" "It's supposed to be permission. Elena, you've been running yourself into the ground for years. The company can survive 2 weeks without you. The question is whether you can survive 2 weeks without the company." Elena didn't have an answer to that. "I heard you're staying with Ryan," Marcus continued. "Who told you that?" "Ryan did, when he took a personal day last week to deal with your discharge. He's worried about you, by the way. Said you're the worst patient he's ever seen." "I'm not a patient. I'm recovering." "Semantics." Marcus paused. "He's a good guy, Elena. Better than most of the sharks you usually surround yourself with." "I know. Do you? Because from where I'm sitting, you've spent 2 years barely noticing the man, and now you're living in his apartment, meeting his daughter, playing house. I'm just wondering if you've actually thought about what you're doing, or if this is some kind of post-traumatic life crisis." Elena's grip tightened on the phone. "Why does everyone think I'm having a crisis?" "Because the Elena Carter I know doesn't do spontaneous. She doesn't do messy. She doesn't get involved with employees or stay in cramped apartments. Or let 6-year-olds braid her hair." His voice softened. "I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's different. And I want to make sure you're doing this for the right reasons." "What are the right reasons?" "That's something only you can answer." After Marcus hung up, Elena sat staring at her phone, his words echoing in her head. Was this a crisis? Some kind of breakdown disguised as a breakthrough? She thought about Ryan's apartment. Small, cluttered, nothing like the pristine spaces she usually inhabited. She thought about Lily, with her endless questions and fierce hugs and complete lack of filter. She thought about Ryan himself, patient, steady, looking at her like she was worth something beyond her bank account or her position. If this was a crisis, Elena thought, it was the best kind. The day passed slowly. Mrs. Chen stopped by at noon with soup and gossip about the building. Elena learned more about Ryan in an hour with his neighbor than she had in 2 years of working with him. How he'd moved in 4 years ago with a toddler and no furniture. How he'd slowly built a life here, piece by piece, always putting Lily first. How he'd helped Mrs. Chen fix her sink last month and refused payment. How every resident in the building adored him because he was just fundamentally decent. "That man would give you his last dollar if you needed it," Mrs. Chen said. "Probably already has, knowing him. He doesn't talk about money, but I see him shopping the discount groceries, wearing the same 3 shirts. Also, that little girl can have new shoes and art supplies and birthday parties." Elena thought about Ryan's efficiency at work, the way he made her life easier without being asked. Of course he'd extend that same care to everyone around him. Of course he would. "You're good for him," Mrs. Chen said, gathering her things to leave. "First time I've seen him look happy in years, less tired. Like maybe he's not carrying the whole world alone anymore." "I'm not sure I'm good for anyone," Elena admitted. "Then you're not paying attention. That man's been in love with you for a long time. I could see it every time he mentioned work, got that look on his face. Like he was holding something precious and fragile. You're the precious thing, in case that wasn't clear." After Mrs. Chen left, Elena stood at the window looking down at the parking lot, watching kids play on the rusty playground equipment. This was Ryan's world. Not corner offices or expensive restaurants or private jets. Just normal life, lived among normal people, finding joy in small moments. Could Elena fit into this world? Did she even know how? Ryan and Lily came home at 4, both windblown and laughing. They'd stopped at the library, and Lily had 7 new books to add to her already overflowing collection. "Look, Elena, this one's about a girl who finds a dragon egg, and this one's about a scientist who discovers a new planet, and this one—" "How about you go start on your homework?" Ryan interrupted gently. "Then you can tell Elena about all the books before dinner." Lily groaned but obeyed, disappearing into her room with her backpack. Ryan turned to Elena. How was your day? Did you rest? Define rest. I'm going to take that as a no. Ryan moved to the kitchen, started pulling out ingredients for dinner. Mrs. Chen said she stopped by. I hope she wasn't too nosy. She told me you're a saint. She exaggerates. She said you give your last dollar away and wear the same 3 shirts so Lily can have what she needs. Ryan's hand stilled. Mrs. Chen talks too much. Does she? Because I've worked with you for 2 years and I never knew you were struggling financially. Your suits are always pressed. You never look tired. You never ask for anything. Because it's not your problem. And I'm not struggling. We have everything we need. Need isn't the same as want, Ryan. He turned to face her. What's your point? My point is that you spend your whole life taking care of everyone else. Who takes care of you? I don't need taking care of. Everyone needs taking care of. Elena crossed to him. What if I want to? Take care of you, I mean. What if I want to make your life easier instead of always making it harder? Ryan's expression cracked. You don't make my life harder. I do. I make you stay late. I demand perfection. I expect you to read my mind and anticipate problems and fix things before they break. And you do it all without complaint, without asking for credit, without expecting anything in return. Why? Because Ryan stopped, shook his head. You know why. Say it again. I need to hear it when we're not in crisis mode, when there's no accident or hospital or emergency. I need to hear it when it's just us. Ryan put down the knife he'd been holding and moved closer. I love you. I've loved you since the day you interviewed me and asked impossible questions and expected honest answers. I've loved you through every impossible deadline and every late night and every time you pushed everyone away because you were afraid of letting them close. I've loved you even when you didn't see me, even when you treated me like furniture, even when it hurt to be near you and know I'd never be anything more than your assistant. Elena's eyes burned. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I was blind for so long. Don't be sorry. Just tell me what you want, because I can't keep guessing. I can't keep hoping and being afraid and wondering if this is real or if you're going to wake up one day and realize you made a mistake. I want this to be real, Elena said. I want you. I want Lily. I want to figure out how to be part of your life instead of just borrowing it temporarily. I want to learn how to do normal things like grocery shopping and parent-teacher conferences and Saturday mornings without a schedule. She didn't get to finish. Ryan kissed her, and all the words scattered. When they broke apart, both breathing hard, Lily's voice called from her room. Daddy, I need help with my math. Reality crashed back. Ryan rested his forehead against Elena's. Tonight, he said. We talk tonight. Figure out how this actually works. Tonight, Elena agreed. Dinner was spaghetti with sauce from a jar and garlic bread that was slightly burned. It was the best meal Elena had eaten in years. Lily talked nonstop about her books, her friends at school, a boy named Tommy, who'd pushed her on the swings at recess. Ryan listened with genuine interest, asked follow-up questions, made her feel heard. Elena watched them and saw the family they'd built together, just the two of them, strong and whole. She wanted to be part of that, but she was terrified of breaking it. After dinner, Lily insisted on showing Elena her favorite show, something animated about magical creatures and friendship. They sat on the couch together, Lily curled against Elena's side like it was the most natural thing in the world. Do you have a best friend? Lily asked during a commercial. Elena thought about it. No, I don't think I do. Everyone needs a best friend, someone who knows all your secrets and likes you anyway. Did you read that in a book? Daddy tells me that. He says friends are important because family isn't just the people you're born with. It's the people you choose. Lily looked up at her. I'd choose you. If I could. As family, I mean. Elena's throat closed. Yeah? Yeah? You're nice, and you're pretty, and you make Daddy smile. He doesn't smile enough. Ryan appeared from the kitchen, clearly having heard. His eyes met Elena's over Lily's head, full of emotion he couldn't express with his daughter between them. Bedtime was a production. Lily needed water, then had to go to the bathroom again, then couldn't find her favorite stuffed dragon, then needed 3 more pages of her book read aloud. Ryan handled it all with infinite patience. Finally, mercifully, Lily fell asleep. Ryan closed her door gently and found Elena standing in the living room, nervous for the first time since she'd walked into that hospital room and heard him say he loved her. "Ready to talk?" Ryan asked. "I don't know. Am I? Come here." Ryan pulled her to the couch, positioned them at opposite ends like they were negotiating a business deal. "Let's start with the obvious. You're my boss. Was your boss. Marcus is handling your assignments now. You're still the CEO. I still work for you technically. That's a problem. It doesn't have to be. People date coworkers all the time. Not when one of them is the CEO and the other was her personal assistant. That's a lawsuit waiting to happen." Ryan ran his hands through his hair. "If we do this, really do this, we need to make changes. I need to transfer departments, get a new title, create distance between us professionally so no one can claim favoritism or harassment or any of the other nightmare scenarios HR is going to throw at us." Elena nodded. "I can make that happen. And Lily, we have to be careful with Lily. She's already getting attached to you. If this falls apart, if you decide this isn't what you want, I won't. You don't know that. A month ago, you barely knew I existed. Now you're living in my apartment and talking about being part of our lives. That's a huge change, Elena. People don't change that fast." "Not really. Maybe I do. Maybe almost dying tends to speed things up." Ryan's expression was pained. What if it's not real change? What if it's just trauma response? What if you go back to work in 2 weeks and remember who you actually are, and this whole thing, us, becomes something you want to forget? Then I'll prove you wrong. Elena moved closer. "I know you're scared. I know you've been hurt before. But I'm not Jennifer. I'm not going to wake up one day and decide I'm bored. I'm not going to abandon Lily. I'm not going to use you and throw you away when something shinier comes along." "You can't promise that." "I can. And I am." Elena took his hands. "Here's what I know. I know that for 2 years you've been the best part of my day, and I was too blind to see it. I know that this apartment feels more like home than my penthouse ever did. I know that Lily makes me want to be better, kinder, more present. And I know that when I look at you, I see someone who actually sees me. Not Elena Carter, CEO, just Elena, the person I forgot how to be." Ryan's eyes were bright. "What if I'm not enough? What if you get tired of this life and want more? More excitement, more luxury, more emptiness, more loneliness, more nights in an empty apartment wondering why success feels so hollow?" Elena shook her head. "I've had more. It almost killed me. I want this instead. I want you instead." "This is crazy." "Probably. We're going to fail spectacularly." "Maybe. People are going to talk. The board's going to lose their minds. Your reputation—" Elena kissed him to shut him up. When she pulled back, Ryan looked dazed. "I don't care," Elena said. "About the board, about my reputation, about what anyone thinks. For the first time in my life, I care more about being happy than being perfect. And you make me happy, Ryan Cole. You and Lily. This messy, imperfect, completely inappropriate situation makes me happier than anything I've achieved in my entire career." Ryan pulled her into his lap, holding her carefully because of her ribs. "This is going to be so complicated." "I know. The board's going to try to force you to choose, the company or me. Then I choose you." "Elena, I choose you," she repeated. "I'll fight for the company, but I won't sacrifice you for it. Not again. I spent years sacrificing everything personal for professional success. I'm done. If they make me choose, I choose us." Ryan's arms tightened around her. "You're going to make me believe this is real." "Good. Because it is." They sat like that for a long time, wrapped around each other, both of them still scared but choosing to be brave anyway. "So what now?" Ryan finally asked. "Now we figure it out. One day at a time. We set boundaries at work. We're careful with Lily. We go slow." "Slow," Ryan repeated. He was kissing her neck, decidedly not slow. "Maybe medium-paced," Elena amended. Ryan laughed against her skin. "I've wanted this for so long, wanted you for so long. It doesn't feel real. Then let me make it real." She kissed him, and this time they didn't stop, didn't overthink, didn't let fear win. Later, much later, they lay tangled together on Ryan's bed. Their bed now, Elena supposed. Ryan traced patterns on her shoulder, careful of her bruises. "I should probably go sleep on the couch," he said without moving, "in case Lily wakes up. Or you could stay here and we'll deal with it in the morning. She'll ask questions. Then we'll answer them, honestly, age-appropriately. Together." Ryan pressed a kiss to her temple. "You're sure about this?" "I'm terrified, but I'm sure." "Good. Because I'm not letting you go now. You're stuck with me. And Lily. Package deal. I wouldn't have it any other way." Elena fell asleep in Ryan's arms, in his small apartment with his daughter sleeping in the next room, and felt safer than she'd felt in years. The future was uncertain. The board would be a problem. Work would be complicated. There would be fights and challenges and moments of doubt. But for now, wrapped in Ryan's warmth, with the sound of his heartbeat steady beneath her ear, Elena chose to believe that love was worth fighting for, even if the fight scared her, especially because it did. The emergency board meeting was called for Tuesday morning at 9 sharp, and Elena knew exactly what it was about before she even walked through those glass doors. She'd been back at Carter Technologies for 3 weeks. 3 weeks of splitting her life down the middle, CEO by day, something softer by night. 3 weeks of leaving the office at 6 instead of 9, of declining dinners with investors because she had a 6-year-old waiting for her to help with homework. 3 weeks of whispered speculation that had grown from murmurs to roars. Marcus Webb met her outside the conference room, his expression grim. "They're out for blood," he said quietly. "Vivian's been making calls all week. She's convinced half the board that you've lost your edge." Vivian Chen, board member, major shareholder, and the woman who'd been angling for Elena's position since the day she took it. Of course she'd weaponize this. "Let them try," Elena said. "Elena." Marcus caught her arm. "They know about Ryan, about you staying at his apartment, about the two of you being seen together outside of work. They're going to paint this as a scandal, an inappropriate relationship with a subordinate, a liability. It's not inappropriate, we're adults. He reports directly to you. That makes it inappropriate in every legal and ethical sense." Marcus lowered his voice. "I'm on your side here. You know that. But you need to have a plan. Because they're going to give you an ultimatum. End it, or they'll push you out." Elena's jaw tightened. They can try. She walked into the conference room with her head high and her armor back in place. 12 board members sat around the table, their expressions ranging from concern to hostile. Vivian sat at the far end, her smile sharp as a knife. "Elena," Vivian said, "thank you for joining us. I know you're still recovering from your accident." "I'm fine. Are you? Because from where we're sitting, your judgment seems significantly impaired." Vivian opened a folder. "You missed the Singapore investor dinner. You declined the Forbes interview. You left 3 major negotiations in Marcus's hands. And most concerning, you've been in a romantic relationship with your executive assistant, a man who has access to confidential information, who sits in on sensitive meetings, who could easily use his position for personal gain." "Ryan would never." "You don't know what he would or wouldn't do," Vivian interrupted. "That's the problem. You've compromised your objectivity. You've created a massive liability for this company, and frankly, you've made us all look like fools for trusting you." Elena's hands clenched under the table. "My personal life has no bearing on my ability to run this company, doesn't it?" Another board member, Gerald Trask, leaned forward. "You've been distracted, unfocused. The Elena Carter we hired would never have allowed her attention to drift from this company. She certainly wouldn't have gotten involved with an employee. The Elena Carter you hired was also heading for a breakdown," Elena shot back. "I was working myself to death, literally. The accident happened because I was driving home after 16 hours in the office. If I'd kept going the way I was going, you'd be looking for a new CEO anyway, because I'd be dead." Silence fell across the table. "So yes," Elena continued, her voice steady despite the anger burning in her chest. "I've made changes. I've set boundaries. I've built a life outside these walls. And yes, I'm in a relationship with Ryan Cole, but none of that has affected my performance. Our Q4 numbers were the highest in company history. We secured the Matsuda deal. We expanded into 3 new markets. I've done everything you hired me to do and more." "While violating HR policy," Vivian said coldly. while creating a hostile work environment, while opening this company up to potential lawsuits from every other employee who might claim favoritism or harassment. Ryan doesn't report to me anymore, Elena said. I transferred him to business development 3 weeks ago. He reports to Marcus now. There's no direct reporting relationship. Convenient timing, Vivian said. Right after you got caught. We weren't caught. We were open about it. Because we have nothing to hide. Then why didn't you disclose it to HR? Why didn't you follow protocol? Gerald's voice was sharp. You expect everyone else in this company to follow the rules, but apparently they don't apply to you. Elena took a breath. They weren't wrong. She had broken protocol. She had violated the policies she'd helped write, but she'd also never cared about anyone enough to consider breaking them before Ryan. You're right, she said. I should have disclosed it sooner. I should have followed protocol. That's on me. But I won't apologize for the relationship itself. Ryan Cole is the best thing that's happened to me in years. He makes me better, not just as a person, but as a leader, because he reminds me that there's more to life than quarterly earnings and stock prices. How touching, Vivian said. But this isn't a romance novel. It's a billion-dollar company, and you've put it at risk for a man you barely know. I know him better than I've ever known anyone. You've known him for 2 years as your assistant and a few weeks as your boyfriend. That's not enough time to risk everything you've built. Vivian stood. We're calling for a vote. Either you end this relationship and commit to putting this company first, or we start proceedings to remove you as CEO. The room erupted. Marcus started arguing. Other board members jumped in. Elena sat frozen, the words echoing in her head. End it or lose everything. The choice she'd known was coming since the moment she kissed Ryan in his kitchen. Enough, Elena said quietly. The room fell silent. Elena stood, meeting Vivian's eyes. You want my answer? Here it is. No. No? Vivian's eyebrows shot up. No, I won't end my relationship. No, I won't choose between my personal life and this company. No, I won't let you bully me into giving up the first real happiness I've found in years. Elena's voice was steady, calm. You hired me because I'm brilliant, because I'm ruthless, because I get results. All of that is still true. What's changed is that I'm no longer willing to sacrifice my humanity for your profit margins. Then you leave us no choice, Vivian said. Actually, I'm giving you 2 choices. Elena pulled a document from her bag and slid it across the table. Option 1. You accept that I'm in a relationship with Ryan Cole, that it's been handled appropriately through HR, that it doesn't affect my performance, and we all move on. Option 2. You try to remove me, and I take this to the shareholders. Gerald picked up the document. His face paled. This is a comprehensive report showing that my performance has actually improved since my accident. Revenue's up. Employee satisfaction is up. We've closed more deals in the last month than in the previous quarter, and I've got statements from 30 employees saying morale has improved because I'm more approachable, more present, more human. Elena leaned forward. So go ahead. Try to remove me for being in a relationship. I'll show the shareholders that you're willing to destroy the company's best-performing CEO because you don't like who she's sleeping with. Vivian's jaw tightened. This is blackmail. This is strategy. You should appreciate that. The meeting devolved into arguments that lasted another hour. But Elena had won, and she knew it. The numbers didn't lie. Her performance was better, not worse. They had no grounds to remove her beyond their own discomfort with her choices. When it finally ended, Marcus walked her to her office. That was either the bravest or stupidest thing I've ever seen you do, he said. Probably both. Elena sank into her chair. They're going to make this difficult. They already are. But you're right. The numbers back you up. Just don't give them any ammunition. No public displays at work. No favoritism toward Ryan's department. Keep everything professional here. Save the personal for home. I know. Marcus hesitated at the door. For what it's worth. I'm glad you found someone. The old Elena was terrifying. This version of you actually seems happy. He left before Elena could respond. She sat alone in her office, staring out at the Seattle skyline. She'd won the battle, but the war was just beginning. Her phone buzzed. Ryan. How did it go? Elena typed back. I still have a job. Barely. That's good, right? That's complicated. She put the phone down and tried to focus on work. But her mind kept drifting to the look on Vivian's face, the barely concealed hostility from half the board, the whispers that would follow her through every meeting now. Was Ryan worth this? Was any relationship worth fighting this hard for? Then she thought about Lily's laughter, Ryan's steady presence. The way home felt like something more than just a place to sleep. Yes, he was worth it. That evening, Elena arrived at Ryan's apartment to find Lily doing homework at the kitchen table and Ryan cooking dinner. The normalcy of it steadied something inside her. "You're late," Lily said without looking up. "You missed the good cartoons." "Sorry, work ran long." "Work always runs long." Lily glanced up, her expression too knowing for a 6-year-old. "Daddy says you had a hard day." "Do you want to color?" "Coloring helps when I have hard days." Elena sat down next to her. "Yeah, I'd like that." They colored in silence while Ryan finished dinner. Elena told them about the board meeting, editing out the uglier parts. Ryan's expression grew darker with every word. After Lily went to bed, he confronted her. "They threatened to fire you because of me. They threatened to fire me because they're scared of change. This isn't your fault." "It's completely my fault. If we'd just kept this professional, then I'd still be miserable and alone." Elena crossed to him. "I don't regret this, Ryan. Any of it. You might. When they make your life hell, when every decision you make gets questioned, when your reputation gets dragged through the mud because you're dating your former assistant." Ryan's hands clenched. "I'm not worth that. That's not your call to make." "Elena, no. Listen to me." She took his face in her hands. "I've spent my entire adult life being exactly who everyone expected me to be. Perfect. Controlled. Untouchable. And it nearly killed me. Literally. You and Lily, you've given me a reason to be someone different, someone better. I'm not giving that up because some board members are uncomfortable." Ryan's eyes searched hers. "What if it gets worse? Then we deal with it, together. I can't protect you from this." "I don't need you to protect me. I need you to stand beside me." Elena's voice softened. "Can you do that?" Ryan pulled her close, holding her like she might disappear. "Yeah, I can do that." They stood in the small kitchen, wrapped around each other, and Elena felt the fear that had been clawing at her chest all day finally ease. The next few weeks tested that resolve. Vivian launched a quiet campaign to undermine Elena's authority. She questioned every decision in board meetings. She encouraged other members to push back on Elena's strategies. She spread whispers about favoritism and poor judgment. Elena fought back the only way she knew how, with results. She worked harder, closed bigger deals, pushed the company to new heights. But the constant battle wore on her. "You look exhausted," Ryan said one night, finding her on the couch with her laptop at 11 p.m. "I'm fine." "You're not fine. You barely ate dinner. You've been staring at that screen for 3 hours. Ryan took the laptop and closed it. "Talk to me." "There's nothing to talk about. I'm handling it." "By working yourself into the ground again? That's what got you into this mess in the first place." Elena's temper flared. "This mess? You mean our relationship? You know that's not what I meant." "Do I? Because sometimes I wonder if you regret this. If you wish I'd just stayed in my lane and kept you as my invisible assistant." Ryan's expression hardened. "That's unfair. So is watching you look guilty every time I have a bad day at work, like this is somehow your fault?" "It is my fault. If I hadn't told you how I felt, if I hadn't kissed you, you'd still be the untouchable Elena Carter, and no one would dare question your authority. I'd also be alone and miserable." Elena stood, pacing. "Is that what you want, for me to go back to being that person?" "I want you to be happy." "I am happy. Except for the part where everyone at work treats me like I've lost my mind, and you act like you're waiting for me to realize you're not worth the trouble." The words hung between them, sharp and jagged. Ryan's face went blank. "Is that what you think?" Elena's anger deflated as quickly as it had risen. "No, I don't know. I'm tired, Ryan. I'm tired of fighting. I'm tired of proving myself. I'm tired of people looking at us like we're some kind of scandal, instead of just two people who care about each other." Ryan crossed to her, gentle now. "Then stop fighting so hard. Stop trying to prove anything. You don't owe them perfection." "Yes, I do. That's the deal. I'm perfect, and they let me lead. That's not sustainable. You know that. Elena sagged against him. I don't know how to be any other way. Then let me teach you. Ryan's voice was soft. The same way you're teaching Lily that it's okay to color outside the lines. The same way I'm teaching you that home can be messy and loud and still be exactly where you belong. Elena closed her eyes. I'm scared. Of what? That I'll fail. That I'll lose the company. That I'll lose you. You're not going to lose me. Ryan kissed her forehead. But you might lose yourself if you keep trying to be two different people. The Elena at work and the Elena at home. At some point, they have to be the same person. I don't know if that's possible. Then we figure it out. Together. Like you said. Elena held on to him and let herself believe it might be true. The breaking point came on a Thursday afternoon. Elena was in a meeting with potential investors from Dubai when her phone rang. She ignored it. It rang again. And again. Excuse me, she said, stepping out. Ryan's name on the screen. He never called during the day unless it was an emergency. What's wrong? She answered. It's Lily. Ryan's voice was tight with panic. She fell at school. They think she might have broken her arm. I'm on my way to the hospital now, but I'm stuck in traffic and... Which hospital? Seattle Children's, but you don't have to... I'm on my way. Elena didn't go back to the meeting. She told her assistant to reschedule, grabbed her bag, and was out the door before anyone could stop her. She made it to the hospital in 20 minutes. Found Ryan in the emergency waiting room, pacing like a caged animal. She's getting x-rays, he said when he saw Elena. They won't let me go back with her. She's scared and alone, and I can't help her. Elena took his hand. She's going to be okay. You don't know that. I know she's tougher than she looks. She's your daughter. She's a fighter. Ryan's eyes were bright with unshed tears. I can't lose her. She's everything. If something happens, nothing's going to happen. They sat together in uncomfortable plastic chairs, waiting. Other families filled the room around them, crying children, worried parents, the controlled chaos of an emergency department. You left work, Ryan said after a while. Of course I did. You were in a meeting, an important meeting. Lily's more important. Ryan looked at her. You mean that? Of course I mean that. Did you think I wouldn't come? I don't know what I thought. You've got so much pressure at work right now. I didn't want to add to it. Ryan. Elena squeezed his hand. There's no pressure at work that matters more than this, than Lily, than you. If the board can't understand that, then maybe I'm working for the wrong people. You can't quit your job because my daughter broke her arm. I'm not quitting. I'm setting priorities. There's a difference. A nurse appeared before Ryan could respond. Mr. Cole, Lily's asking for you. They both stood. The nurse glanced at Elena. She's family, Ryan said firmly. The nurse nodded and led them back. Lily sat on an exam table, her left arm in a temporary splint, tear tracks on her cheeks. When she saw Ryan, she started crying again. Daddy! Ryan rushed to her, gathering her carefully into his arms. Hey, Bug, I'm here. I'm right here. It hurts, Lily sobbed. I fell off the jungle gym, and it really hurts. I know, sweetheart, but they're going to fix you up, okay? You're going to be fine. Lily spotted Elena over Ryan's shoulder. Elena came too? Of course I came. Elena moved closer. I heard you were having an adventure. It's a bad adventure, Lily sniffled. I didn't mean to fall. Maddie dared me to go across the top, and I wanted to show her I was brave, but then I slipped and... Hey! Ryan pulled back to look at her. Brave doesn't mean doing dangerous things to prove something to other kids. Brave means knowing when to walk away. But then Maddie said I was chicken. Maddie's not the one with a broken arm, Elena pointed out, so I'd say you're the smart one, not the chicken. You just had bad luck. The doctor came in. Young, professional, kind. She confirmed the break, explained that Lily would need a cast for 6 weeks, answered all of Ryan's anxious questions with patience. Through it all, Elena stayed, held Lily's other hand while they set the break, distracted her with stories while they fitted the cast. Let Lily pick purple, her favorite color. By the time they left the hospital, it was after 7. Ryan was exhausted. Lily was loopy from pain medication. Elena was covered in glitter from the stickers the nurses had given Lily for being brave. "I'll get us a cab," Ryan said. "I'll drive you. My car's in the lot." "Elena, you don't have to." "I want to." They drove home in Elena's Mercedes, Lily chattering sleepily in the back seat about how cool her purple cast was, Ryan silent and tense beside her. Back at the apartment, Elena helped get Lily settled on the couch with pillows and her favorite blanket. Ryan made mac and cheese because it was Lily's comfort food. They ate in front of the TV, watching cartoons, pretending everything was normal. When Lily finally fell asleep, Ryan carried her to bed. Elena heard him moving around in there, probably tucking her in, checking on her a dozen times. He emerged looking wrecked. "You should go home," he said. "You've done enough." Elena stood. "Do you want me to leave?" "I want—" Ryan ran his hands through his hair. "I don't know what I want. Today scared me. Lily scared me. And seeing you drop everything to be here, that scared me too." "Why?" "Because I'm starting to need you. Lily's starting to need you. And if you decide this is too hard, if you decide we're too much—" "Ryan," Elena crossed to him. "Stop, just stop. I'm not going anywhere." "You say that now. But what about tomorrow? What about when Vivian makes your life hell again? What about when the board votes to remove you and you have to choose between the company and us?" "Then I'll choose us." Ryan's eyes widened. "You can't mean that." "I do. That company, it was my entire life for so long. But it was a half-life. Existing, not living. You and Lily, you've shown me what living actually feels like. And I'm not giving that up. Not for Vivian, not for the board, not for anyone." "Elena, I love you," she said. The words came out raw, unpolished. "I love you, and I love Lily, and I don't care who knows it or what it costs me. You're worth more than any company. You're worth everything." Ryan kissed her, hard and desperate and full of fear and hope tangled together. "I love you too," he said against her lips. "I've loved you for so long it feels like breathing, and it terrifies me." "Then we'll be terrified together." They held each other in the small apartment, Lily sleeping safe in the next room, the weight of the world pressing down but somehow easier to carry, with two people holding it. Elena's phone buzzed, a text from Vivian. "Heard you walked out of a major investor meeting today. We need to talk about your priorities." Elena deleted it without responding. Her priorities were right here, and for the first time in her life, she wasn't afraid to choose them. The second board vote happened on a Friday morning in late November, 6 months after Elena had walked out of that investor meeting to be with Lily at the hospital. This time, Elena wasn't surprised. She'd seen it coming for weeks, Vivian gathering her allies, whispering in corners, building a case that Elena's leadership had become compromised. What did surprise Elena was how calm she felt walking into that conference room. The old Elena would have been armored, ready for war. This Elena wore a simple dress, had left work at a reasonable hour every day that week, and had finger-painted with Lily the night before. Her hands still had traces of green under her nails. "Thank you for coming," Vivian said, her smile sharp. "I know you have a busy schedule, or at least you used to." Elena sat without responding. Let Vivian play her games. Elena had stopped playing 6 months ago. "We've called this meeting to address ongoing concerns about your leadership," Vivian continued. "Specifically, the pattern of behavior that suggests your personal life has taken priority over your professional responsibilities." "Be specific," Elena said. "You left a $10 million investor meeting to deal with a family emergency that wasn't even your family. Lily had broken her arm. She's 6 years old. Where exactly did you expect me to be? We expect you to be running this company, not playing house with your assistant and his daughter." Vivian's voice was cold. "You've made this personal, Elena, and it's affecting your judgment." Marcus spoke up from across the table. "Her judgment closed the Nakamura deal last month. $300 million in new contracts. Her judgment expanded our market share in Asia by 18%. Her judgment abandoned a crucial meeting mid-pitch," Vivian interrupted. "Her judgment prioritizes a 6-year-old's broken arm over the company's future. Her judgment has made her weak." The word hung in the air. Weak. Elena looked at Vivian and felt something like pity. Because Vivian was right, in a way. Elena had changed. She was softer now, more human, more willing to walk away from a conference room if someone she loved needed her. The old Elena would have seen that as weakness. The new Elena knew it was the opposite. "You're right," Elena said quietly. The room went silent. "I have changed," Elena continued. "I'm not the same person I was a year ago." That Elena would have let Lily sit alone and scared in a hospital while I finished a PowerPoint presentation. That Elena would have worked through Christmas, through birthdays, through every moment that actually matters. That Elena almost died because she forgot what it meant to be human. "This is exactly what we're talking about," Vivian said. "You've lost your edge. You've gone soft. You're no longer the leader this company needs." Elena stood, not in anger, but in clarity. "Then find someone else." The room erupted. "Elena?" Marcus started. "I'm serious," Elena's voice cut through the chaos. "If you want a CEO who will sacrifice everything for quarterly earnings, who will work 80-hour weeks and die alone in an expensive penthouse, then I'm not your person anymore. But if you want a CEO who can actually lead people instead of just managing numbers, who understands that success means nothing if you have no one to share it with, who makes this company better by being better herself, then I'm standing right here." "This is blackmail," Vivian said. "No, this is a choice. My choice. I choose both. I choose to run this company and to have a life. I choose to close deals and to show up for the people I love. I choose to be successful and human at the same time. And if you can't accept that, then you need a different CEO." Gerald Trask, who had been silent until now, spoke up. "What about the shareholders? What about the image of this company? You're asking us to accept a CEO who's in a relationship with a former subordinate, who leaves work for personal emergencies, who's fundamentally changed how she operates. How do we sell that?" "You sell it with results," Marcus said, pulling up a presentation on the screen. "Since Elena's accident, since she started actually having a life outside this building, our numbers have improved across the board. Revenue is up 23%. Employee retention is up 31%. We've had zero turnover in executive leadership. Client satisfaction scores are the highest they've been in 5 years. You want to know why?" He clicked to the next slide, employee survey results. "Because people trust her now. Because she's not just a brilliant strategist, she's a leader they can actually relate to. She shows up to company events. She knows her employees' names. She asks about their families. She's still demanding, still expects excellence, but she's human about it. And that makes people want to work harder for her, not against her." Vivian's expression was ice. "Sentiment doesn't pay dividends." "No, but performance does, and her performance has been exceptional." Marcus looked around the table. "You want to fire the best CEO this company has ever had because she dared to fall in love and have a life? Go ahead. See how fast our stock price drops when the press finds out you forced out a record-breaking female CEO for having the audacity to be in a relationship." "That's not what this is about," Vivian snapped. "Then what is it about?" Elena asked. "Because from where I'm standing, this is about control. You thought you could manipulate me, push me out, take my position, but I won't go quietly. I won't apologize for choosing to be whole instead of broken, and I won't let you destroy what I've built just because you're uncomfortable with who I've become." The vote was called. Elena stepped outside while they deliberated. She stood in the hallway looking out at the Seattle skyline and thought about Ryan, about Lily, about the life she'd built in the spaces between work and home, messy and imperfect and more real than anything she'd ever known. If they voted her out, she'd survive. She'd find another position, another company. Or maybe she'd do something completely different, start a consulting firm, teach, write. The possibilities felt endless instead of terrifying. Her phone buzzed. "Ryan, how's it going? They're voting now." "How do you feel?" Elena typed and deleted several responses before settling on the truth. "Free. Whatever happens, I feel free. I love you. I love you too." The conference room door opened. Marcus gestured her inside. Elena walked back in with her head high. "The vote was 8-4, Gerald said. "You keep your position as CEO, but there are conditions." "Name them." "You maintain absolute transparency about your relationship with Mr. Cole. No appearance of favoritism. No closed-door meetings without a third party present. Quarterly reviews of your performance by an independent committee. And if at any point your personal life begins to negatively impact company performance, we revisit this decision." "Agreed," Elena said without hesitation. Vivian stood abruptly. "This is a mistake. You'll regret this." "Possibly," Elena said. "But I'd regret the alternative more. Vivian stormed out. 2 other board members followed her. Gerald approached Elena after the room cleared. You've changed. I'm not sure I like it yet, but I respect it. Don't make us regret giving you this chance. I won't. Elena gathered her things and left the office. It was only 2 in the afternoon. The old Elena would have stayed until 8, proving her commitment. The new Elena had promised to pick Lily up from school. She made it to the elementary school just as classes let out. Lily spotted her immediately and ran over, purple cast covered in signatures and stickers. Elena, you're here. I thought Daddy was picking me up. He is. I'm just early. Elena knelt down. How was school? Good. I got to show everyone my cast at recess. And guess what? Tommy said it was cool and asked if I wanted to play soccer with the boys next week when my cast comes off. That's wonderful. Are you okay? Lily's expression turned serious. You look like you've been crying. Elena touched her cheek, surprised to find it damp. Happy tears. I had a good day at work. Oh, those are the best kind of tears. Lily hugged her awkwardly with her good arm. Daddy gets those sometimes when he watches me sleep. He thinks I don't know, but I know. Ryan's car pulled up. He got out looking surprised. Elena, what are you doing here? I kept my job, Elena said. I thought I'd celebrate by doing school pickup. Ryan's face split into a grin. Yeah? Yeah. He crossed to her and kissed her right there in front of the school, in front of other parents and teachers, and anyone who cared to look. Elena kissed him back, not caring about professional boundaries or appearances or what anyone thought. Gross, Lily said, but she was smiling. Can we get ice cream to celebrate? Absolutely, Elena said. They went to the ice cream shop Lily loved, the one with too many flavors and sticky tables. Lily got chocolate with gummy bears. Ryan got vanilla because he was boring. Elena got strawberry and let Lily steal half of it. I have an idea, Lily said around a mouthful of chocolate. We should all live together. Elena and Ryan exchanged glances. Sweetheart, Ryan started, Elena has her own place. But she's at our apartment all the time anyway, and it's more fun when she's there. We could be a real family. Lily's eyes were bright. Please? Lily, that's a big decision, Ryan said. We can't just... Why not? Elena interrupted. Ryan stared at her. What? Why not? Elena repeated. She's right. I'm there every night anyway. I haven't slept in my own bed in 3 weeks. My penthouse is just expensive storage at this point. Elena, you can't give up your penthouse to move into my cramped apartment. Why not? Your apartment is home. My penthouse is just a building. Elena looked at Lily. But we'd need more space. 3 people in 800 square feet is too tight. Lily bounced in her seat. Does that mean yes? Does that mean we can be a real family? If your dad agrees. Ryan looked overwhelmed. I can't let you give up everything for us. You're not letting me do anything. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing you and Lily and messy apartments and school pickups and coloring outside the lines. I'm choosing a life that actually means something. Elena took his hand. Let me choose you. Ryan's eyes were bright. Okay, yes, but we find a place together. Not my apartment, not your penthouse. Something that's ours. Deal. Lily cheered so loudly the entire ice cream shop turned to look. That night, after Lily was asleep, Ryan and Elena sat on the couch looking at apartment listings on Elena's laptop. This one has 3 bedrooms, Elena said. Lily could have her own room, plus a guest room. It's also $4,000 a month. I can't afford half of that. So I pay more. I make more. Elena, don't make this about pride. We're building a life together. That means sharing everything, the good, the complicated, all of it. She closed the laptop. Besides, I'm planning to cut back my hours at work. Hire a proper executive team to handle some of the load. I can't do everything myself anymore, and I don't want to. Ryan pulled her close. Who are you? And what have you done with Elena Carter? She's still here. Just different. Better, I think. Definitely better. They found a place 2 weeks later. A 3-bedroom apartment in Capitol Hill with good light and a park nearby and a kitchen big enough for all of them to cook together. Lily picked out paint colors for her new room. Ryan built bookshelves. Elena learned how to hang curtains. The move happened over Thanksgiving weekend. Mrs. Chen from 3F helped. along with half the building who'd apparently adopted Ryan and Lily as family years ago. They brought casseroles and advice and embarrassing stories about Ryan that made Elena laugh until her ribs hurt. "This is what you're signing up for," Ryan warned, as Mrs. Chen told a story about Ryan accidentally dyeing all his clothes pink. "Community, nosiness, people who care too much." "Sounds perfect," Elena said, and meant it. Christmas came. Elena had always worked through holidays, treating them like any other day, but this year, Lily insisted on decorating a tree, on baking cookies, on leaving out milk and cookies for Santa, even though she probably didn't believe anymore. "It's about the magic," Lily explained seriously. "You have to keep the magic alive." So Elena helped decorate, helped bake, helped wrap presents at midnight when Lily was finally asleep. Ryan found her crying over a badly wrapped bike. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Nothing's wrong. Everything's right. That's the problem." Elena wiped her eyes. "I didn't know life could feel like this. Full, warm, like I matter for reasons that have nothing to do with quarterly earnings or stock prices." Ryan sat beside her. "You've always mattered." "No, I was successful. That's different. Success is what you achieve. Mattering is who you are to the people who love you." She looked at him. "You and Lily, you've taught me the difference. You taught yourself. We just gave you a reason to pay attention." Christmas morning, Lily woke them up at 6 a.m., shrieking about presents. They stumbled into the living room to find her already tearing through wrapping paper. "Santa came! He came! And he brought the art set I wanted, and Elena, you got me the Dragon Book collection. All 12 books." Elena had spent an embarrassing amount of time finding the complete set of the Dragon books Lily loved. The look on her face made every dollar worth it. "Thank you, thank you, thank you." Lily hugged her hard enough to bruise. Ryan handed Elena a small box. "This isn't much, but..." Inside was a key. Not to a house or apartment, but something else. Elena turned it over, confused. "It's to my heart," Ryan said quietly. "Which you've had for years anyway, but now it's official." "You're such a sap," Elena said, but she was crying again. "There's one more thing." Ryan pulled out a folder. "Remember when you said you wanted to cut back at work? Build a proper executive team?" "Yes?" "I applied for the chief operating officer position." Elena's eyes widened. "What?" "Marcus encouraged me. Said I've been essentially doing half the job anyway, just without the title. And if we're going to do this, build a life together, be a family. I don't want to be on the sidelines anymore. I want to stand beside you, actually beside you, not behind you." "Ryan, that position, it's intense, the hours, the pressure." "I know, but I can handle it. And we can handle it together, set boundaries, support each other, show Lily that you can be successful and present at the same time." Elena kissed him. "You're hired." "I haven't even interviewed yet." "You're still hired." Lily interrupted with demands to play with her new toys, and the morning dissolved into laughter and chaos, and the kind of joy Elena had spent 30 years not knowing existed. The new year brought changes. Ryan stepped into his new role and proved Marcus right. He was brilliant at it. Elena built her executive team, delegating responsibilities she'd clung to for years. Together, they restructured Carter Technologies to be more than just a money-making machine. They implemented family leave policies, flexible work arrangements, mental health resources. "We're making less profit," Vivian said at a board meeting in March. "We're making sustainable profit," Elena corrected. "And our employee satisfaction is at 92%. Retention is up. Innovation is up. We're building something that lasts instead of burning people out." "Since when do you care about employee satisfaction?" "Since I learned that people aren't resources to be optimized. They're humans with lives and families and dreams. And when you treat them like humans, they do better work." Vivian left the board in April. 2 others followed. New members came in, younger, more progressive, more aligned with Elena's vision. The company shifted, slowly but undeniably, into something better. One evening in late spring, Elena came home to find Lily at the kitchen table working on an essay for school. "What's the assignment?" Elena asked, dropping her bag. "We have to write about our hero, someone who inspires us." "And who did you pick?" "You." Elena's heart stuttered. "Me?" "Yeah, want to hear it?" Lily read aloud, her voice careful and proud. "My hero is Elena. She's the CEO of a big company, but that's not why she's my hero. She's my hero because she learned how to be brave in a different way. She learned that being strong doesn't mean being alone. She learned that love is more important than being perfect. And she taught me that it's okay to color outside the lines sometimes, because that's where the best art happens. Elena couldn't speak. Ryan appeared in the doorway, smiling. "Pretty good, right?" he said. "It's perfect," Elena managed. Later, after Lily was asleep, Elena and Ryan stood on their small balcony looking out at the city lights. "Do you regret it?" Ryan asked. "Giving up the person you were?" "I didn't give her up. I just let her grow into someone better." Elena leaned against him. "The old me was successful but empty. This version of me, messy, imperfect, splitting my time between boardrooms and parent-teacher conferences, she's whole." "You're happy." "I'm happy." And she was. Not in the simple, uncomplicated way of fairy tales, but in the real textured way of actual life. There were still hard days at work, still battles with board members who didn't understand her vision. There were fights with Ryan about whose turn it was to do dishes, stressed mornings when Lily couldn't find her homework, nights when Elena lay awake wondering if she was failing at everything. But there were also lazy Sunday mornings in bed, Lily climbing in between them to read comics. There were family dinners where they talked about their days, actually listened to each other. There were moments when Elena watched Ryan help Lily with her math homework and felt so full of love she thought she might burst. Success, Elena had learned, wasn't about controlling everything. It was about knowing what mattered and building a life around it. Not a perfect life, a real one. One Saturday morning, 6 months after they'd moved into the new apartment, Elena woke to find Lily standing beside the bed. "I had a bad dream," Lily whispered. Without thinking, Elena pulled back the covers. Lily climbed in, curling against her side. Ryan woke up, saw them, smiled, and went back to sleep. Elena lay there with Lily's warm weight against her and Ryan's steady breathing beside her, and thought about the woman she used to be. That woman would have seen this as weakness, as distraction from the important work of building an empire. But that woman had been dying slowly, year by year, success by lonely success. This woman, the one lying in a comfortable bed in a 3-bedroom apartment with the 2 people who mattered most, she was alive, fully, messily, completely alive. "Elena?" Lily's voice was sleepy. "Yeah, Bug. Are you going to stay? Like, forever?" "Yeah, forever." "Good. Because you're family now, and family doesn't leave." Elena kissed the top of Lily's head. "No, family doesn't leave." She closed her eyes and let herself drift back to sleep, wrapped in the life she'd almost missed, the family she'd never known she needed, the love that had saved her from a future as empty as the penthouse she'd left behind. Outside, the city woke up. Carter Technologies would keep running, keep growing, keep changing. Elena would go back to work on Monday, fight new battles, make new deals, lead with the same brilliance she'd always had, but with a humanity she'd learned from a 6-year-old's wisdom and her father's steady love. But for now, she was exactly where she belonged. Not in a corner office or a boardroom or behind a wall of professional distance. She was home. And home, Elena had finally learned, was the most important empire she'd ever built. The thing about control is that it's an illusion. You can't control markets or boards or other people. You can barely control yourself. But you can choose. You can choose who to love, how to live, what to fight for. And those choices, made day after day in the messy middle of an ordinary life, are what define you. Elena Carter had been defined by her success for too long. Now she was defined by her choices. And every morning, she chose them. Ryan, Lily, the imperfect, beautiful life they were building together. She chose love over loneliness, presence over perfection, connection over control. And in the end, that made all the difference.